This is the Minecraft Mace. In this video, we're going to go over Minecraft Macing 101. We'll cover everything you need to know to actually get and use the mace, from finding trial chambers to obtaining the heavy core, and breaking down the basics on how to use the mace in survival and PvP. How to find the trial chambers. Before you get to macing, you first need to find a trial chamber, since that's the only place you can get a heavy core and a breeze rod needed to craft a mace. Method number 1. The cartography villager. It's the most straightforward and intended method in survival. It's trading with a cartographer villager. First, you need to level it up by trading until you get journeyman level, which has a 67% chance of it appearing. It costs about 12 emeralds plus a compass. And then you have a map to follow straight to the trial chamber, which is a depth around Y level -40 to -20. This is the intended method. The second method to find a trial chamber would be natural exploration. Trial chambers naturally spawn underground, usually deep in the world, like we just said, around Y level -40 to -20, so you might find them naturally while mining, as they're decently common. You'll be mining for deep slate, and you should look for tough brick, which are a key indicator that you found a chamber. This method is slower but works well if you're already mining or caving for something else. The third method to find the trial chambers would be to use the debug pie chart. If you're playing Java Edition, you can use the debug menu pie chart. Just have to press F3 and shift at the same time to make the chart appear. Now you see what blocks are in a 16 chunk radius around you. Trial chambers contain a lot of tough brick, copper blocks, and especially ominous vaults. So if you see any of those, especially the last one, appearing in the chunk data, you can confirm that one is nearby. It isn't very beginner friendly, but it's useful to know what you're doing wrong. And the last option would be to use seed map or another chunk based thing. If everything else fails, you've got the guaranteed and free method seed map tools like chunk base. Once you enter the world seed and enable chambers in the map, this will show you the exact trial chamber locations instantly. This obviously removes the challenge and it's technically cheating, but you don't really care about that, do you now? Makes it way faster. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about minimum gear, the useful gear, and late game gear. Before you actually go into the trial chamber, your gear matters a lot, depending on your skill level that is. This difficulty can ramp up pretty fast, depending on which spawners you get, especially if you trigger multiple at the same time. So even though it's possible to go in early game, it's probably not a good idea. I'm going to split this into minimum gear and recommended gear, so you know what you need to survive, which just makes things easier. Minimum gear. This is the absolute baseline if you want a realistic chance of surviving, although these are really basic for survival mode in general. Full iron armor, iron or diamond sword, axe, whatever you're better at, which window it doesn't really matter. A shield, a bow, a stack of arrows, a water bucket can help you get up stuck, catching your fall. Stack of blocks can be useful to block yourself in a corner to eat. Some food that's not rotten flesh. A bed so that you can get more respawn points. The useful gear would be diamond armor, enchanted if possible, and enchanted gear in general. Late game would be under chest and chokers for carrying a lot of stuff. Now that you've hopefully found a trial chamber and gotten some decent gear, let's talk about actually beating it. The biggest mistake players make when going to the trial chambers is treating it like a normal cave. They're not. If you rush in, activate multiple spawners, and try to fight everything at once, you're screwed. Instead, just take your time, clear rooms one at a time. One of the strategies would be to set your spawn point before you start fighting. Find a safe location to place a bed. Most trial chambers even have a bedroom you can use. Setting your spawn point nearby means that if you die, you can get right back into the fight. Another strategy would be to not activate too many spawners at the same time, because trial spawners are very unique. Unlike the normal ones, they only activate when you're close enough and begin spawning mobs. Try to only activate one spawner at a time, because it gets real tough when you've got 20 baby zombies running at you. Right now we're acting that, just for an example, just to see you can get overwhelmed pretty easy if you get a lot of mobs on you. And this is us fighting normally with a reasonable amount of mobs on against us. When you are in the trial chambers, you want to loot everything. While going through the rooms, don't just focus on combat. Make sure you open the chests, break the pots, loot other rooms, and even dispensers. You can find useful supplies, food, arrows, emeralds, even diamonds sometimes. It's definitely worth checking if you can find a ton of loot from trial chambers. The vaults. You'll find vaults through the chambers. These are where you will spend your keys from spawners to receive rewards. However, there's one important thing to mention. You can only open each vault once per player, meaning that once you've opened that vault, you can never use it again. If you want more rewards after getting every single vault, you have to find a new trial chamber using the methods listed before, because it doesn't. Trial vaults aren't something you can endlessly farm like everything else in the game. If you have friends unlike me, sad, I know, you want to get them on because when you're beating a spawner, each person will get their own loot. The Omnis Trials. If you want the best rewards and actually get a mace, you'll have to learn about Omnis Trials. Using an Omnis bottle will convert trial spawners into Omnis spawners. These are more difficult than normal trials and spawn stronger mobs, but the rewards are much better. Most importantly, this is the only method you'll obtain the Omnis keys needed to open the Omnis vaults, where you'll get the heavy core needed to craft the mace. Omnis bottles. There's two main ways of getting Omnis bottles: from pillagers, captains, or finding them while exploring the trial chambers normally. Once you have one, you can save it for later and drink it in the chamber to get the bad omen effect to start the Omnis trials. I recommend building an Omnis bottle farm if you want to get a lot, but they literally last 100 minutes, so it's not necessary. The first method, getting through the vaults. The second method, this one takes probably a long time unless you're lucky. I had to cheat for this one, it's kind of insane. The vaults. At this point, you've probably noticed that the trial chamber has vaults you can't open with normal keys. These are the Omnis vaults, which are really easy to recognize because of the three-headed texture and greenish color. They give better loot and, most importantly, the heavy core. If you're looking to get the mace, that's why you clicked on the video, your priority should always be getting Omnis keys and opening these vaults. The enchantments. Now that we hopefully have our mace, and not after hours of grinding, let's talk about the enchantments. The mace has three unique enchantments that gives it more specific uses: Windburst, Density, and Breeze. These are the enchantments you should care about the most when it comes to the mace. Here are the specifics of each, but we'll go over how they work in combat too. I tested Density 5 and Breach 4 on someone that had fully enchanted netherite armor, and the Density 5 mace did 12 hearts and Breach 4 did 8 hearts. This was all from 10 blocks high. This is me testing the 3 levels of Windburst, and each level increases the height that you go flying. And this is me testing Fire Aspect on a maze and showing how much extra damage it will do. Very important to remember. Before we talk about survival or PvP, there are a few very important mace mechanics everyone should know. These will save you from a lot of frustration and deaths while learning to mace. One thing people need to remember is you cannot mace from someone from under 1.5 blocks. Here's an example. Windburst can kill you. Windburst is dangerous after a mace attack. You'll immediately launch into the air, and if you're not ready, you can easily miss your opponent and fall to your death. Because of that, most mace players use feather falling, wind charges, ender pearls, water buckets, or an elytra, anything that can save you from a fall. Avoid blast protection if you want to use wind charges or wind burst. Do not wear blast protection armor. It reduces the knockback you receive from explosions, including your own, meaning it will make them useless. Use regular protection. And don't use them, please. This is me trying to kill my brother with the mace, but I can't even use a wind charge to get high enough to hit him because of the blast protection armor. I have to go on the chest to be able to do it because they'll give me a high enough jump to do it. But even then, my wind burst doesn't work because of the blast protection. It sucks. So the PvE basic survival mode practical uses. The reason you could use a mace in survival is it does a ton of damage under the right circumstances. You could kill any mob in the game, including the Ender Dragon, Wither, and even the Warden. It's not very practical, but it's pretty fun. And when you're good at it, you can kill every mob, and you can even use it for momentum, movement, etc. And now the PvP uses and counters. PvP is where the mace really starts to shine, because smash attacks deal so much burst damage, in a single hit you can kill your opponent. Good mace players use wind charges, the elytra, and ender pearls to get opportunities for attacks. The mace is really powerful, but it's not invincible. The mace has many counters. Shields. One of the strongest counters of the mace is the shield. A well-timed block completely stops the mace attack, but good mace players know how to counter it. Awareness. The reason awareness is on this list is you can dodge the mace if the person isn't that experienced by just moving to the side. And elytra synergy. You can use the elytra to dodge out of the way, but careful. People with mace often have elytras too. If you're brand new to the maze, don't just immediately start with PvP. Spend some time learning it in the creative world. The method I personally used was spawning iron golems and repeatedly practicing on them. They're perfect because they have a large hitbox and lots of health. This lets you focus on accuracy and timing. Just remember to switch yourself into survival mode while practicing so you know when you take too much fall damage. Just make sure to switch keep inventory on or to have a saved hotbar. And now, the pros and cons. The pros, extremely strong in PvP, highest burst damage in Minecraft, can one-shot most mobs and players, great mobility with wind charges, works extremely well with Elytra, very fun and satisfying to use. Now the cons. Hard to obtain, requires a lot of practice, punishes missed attacks, less consistent than other weapons, relies on positioning and vertical movement, can be countered by experienced players.
And that's everything you need to know on how to get started with the mace. You now know how to find the trial chambers, get a heavy core, enchant your mace, and start using it.
If you found this video helpful, leave a like, subscribe, and turn notifications on for future Minecraft tutorials and advanced mace combat.